Good morning, Jacquelyn. How are you? How are you doing in this cataclysmic snowfall, which in Maine they call weather?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I think the main thing about Maine that maybe is worse or more challenging, the one thing that we have that might be more challenging than you guys, because I've heard some crazy stuff about what DC is going through in terms of like driving and plowing and that type of thing. But I think that here it is just so cold and the windows are so big and the heat costs so much money. So that's honestly like the snow is beautiful. I love skiing, love cross country skiing, but the indoors have really been a challenge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're off to Vermont on Saturday, so our next podcast is going to be from Vermont.
Oh, with the bookshelf background, that's my favorite.
Yeah. So I can't wait to get out there because I just got a notice that they have 10 inches of powder at the stove.
Mm-hmm. Easily. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can imagine.
We've got 6 inches of ice here, and it's okay.
Not so fun.
I don't care.
Not so fun for cross-country skiing, though.
No, this was not a cross-country skiing kind of snowfall here, but in Stowe there's no cross-country skiing, and the dogs are going nuts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Paul. I'm excited for you. You got to send pictures. But before we kind of, you and I can chat for hours. So I will go through last week's headlines. We had a really, really, really incredible story. I honestly almost want to let you gush about it a little bit, Paul, but Claire's cover story last week was incredible. It was about Premarin, the history of Premarin, and in the context of the new generic estrogen formulation that has been approved just a few months ago as part of it was approved actually just as like a small paragraph at the end of the press release about the black box warning on hormone replacement therapies being removed, which also Claire did an incredible story on when that happened. But yeah, she just found this one paragraph and she really drilled in and she was like, what is this? And there was no coverage and she did an incredible job and we had incredible art. It's just one of those cancer letter stories that is just really fun to work with and edit and be a part of. So awesome on that. Definitely would recommend reading it. And then we had a story about the appropriations, which is now basically nearly moot, I would say. And we'll dive into that. That's what our
strike the nearly.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Kaput.
Yes. We could talk about that in more detail. Dead. And then we had another story, a shorter story about the Michaela Nalon Give Kids a Chance Act, and sort of focusing on that, but really that was part of the larger spending bills as well. But that's a crazy story because it was the 5th time that it had been approved by one of the like the House or the Senate, one piece of Congress. So that was just an interesting sort of story on that end, and definitely going to have to follow up with that because now this is going to be 5th and it's dead again. So that's going to be an ongoing story. I really had hoped that this would maybe be the end, but maybe I was naive. And then we had a guest editorial by E. Anders Kolb about about Blood Cancer United, which formerly was the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society, and they changed their name. So they kind of just wrote a little editorial about their logic behind that, and that was very nice. And then we have a bunch of cancer policies, as always. NIH ended fetal tissue research again, and yeah, there's a whole bunch from cancer policy that there is to explore. So I would strongly suggest reading through that. And I think that's it, Paul. Really, I think I'm just getting a little bit caught on the spending bill. So we should probably just dive into that because that's really the focus. And then maybe we can end on a higher note of Claire's awesome story.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to see what happened because there we were staying in our lane, covering nothing but the stuff we cover, which is oncology. Then a half-trained, I guess, or maybe not even half-trained paramilitary dude in Minneapolis decides in tactical gear. I mean, we have paramilitary guys in tactical gear wandering around with guns. It's unexpected things will happen. Maybe they're very much expected. So they suddenly, and 38-year-old nurse from VA gets killed while trying to document what ICE is doing in Minneapolis. So basically his First Amendment right, and also his rights, and also his Second Amendment rights, because he had a weapon which he carried, gets killed in the street. And this is, and suddenly the spending bill, which includes the Department of Homeland Security spending, is derailed. So we are trying to stay within our lane and cover only oncology, and then the world catches up. So, which also kind of tells you that there are no safe places anymore.
Well, I just wanted to, just to touch on that, Paul, is that when I was reporting and writing the story last week, it's so sick to talk about it this way, but the first shooting, right? So Renee Good had already happened, and that was already part of sort of the conversation. The bills that were passed last week that I wrote about included some changes to the Department of Homeland Security in relation to ICE. So they had like more, I forget it, like you said, right? Like this isn't typically our lane, but of course it was relevant last week where they did have some sort of stipulations about DHS. And so that was, part of it. But then of course this happens, and now the bill is really, really fallen apart, and a lot more of the Democrats are refusing to sort of sign on, which, I think what you said about how nothing is safe is like, I don't think there's really any Democrats that are anti-passing a bill for HHS or labor HHS. But I think it's just, the seriousness of what's happening with ICE. It seems to me, again, I'm coming at this from a science perspective. I can't even believe I'm talking about politics like this, but it seems to me that it's more about having the weight of such an important the government shutdown is looming as well, January 30th. We didn't technically say that out loud, but that is now much more of a likelihood, probably a 100% likelihood based on what you're saying, Paul. And then
I don't know. I actually do not know.
Yeah, but all that to say is just that, we've now turned a corner. That wasn't necessarily the case quite as much last week.
Well, look at it this way. The story you did, 4 bills moved, right? DHS, DOD, Transportation, HHS. HHS is important to Dems as well as Republicans. DOD is vitally important to Republicans. Transportation is important to everyone because it's full of pork. So everybody loves it. And then, of course, there's DHS, which includes ICE. And the question is going to be more than ICE, a lot more than ICE. But the question is going to be what happens here. And Senate has to come back and resolve it. And I don't know if there's enough time. That's kind of one of the perils of writing any stories about this, is that everything you wrote on Thursday and Friday is now moot, right? It's just dross.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautifully written, beautifully reported, but it's dross. Gorgeous dross, but dross. And then everything that I'm saying now is utter nonsense and totally by the time we post it. So we should probably post it really soon because it's accurate right now. It may not be accurate by tonight. Tonight being Monday night, by the way, and I'm told to just Monday night is going to be things are going to become a little more clearer. Or very much more clear, but everybody really has a reason to resolve this.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. But you can't. Dems are saying, "Hey, you can't just leave," and a lot of Republicans too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and I think it was a weird thing, and not to circle back, but I mean, I was watching, House Speaker Mike Johnson talk. Like they had a press release after the passage of the bill just in the House, and it was like they were cheering, there were cupcakes, they were, it's like, it was just a bipartisan, bicameral victory. Like it was such fanfare, and now it's totally set back. And I mean, not to be biased, I think that there's very, very good reason that it's set back. I think that, the shooting of an American citizen, just for, like that is a good reason. But it is just definitely, like unsettling and a little bit, especially because we just had the longest government shutdown in U.S. history a few months ago. So I don't know, just not very uplifting news that is coming out of Washington and Minneapolis.
God, we're speaking in such cautious terms. There's a very interesting history to kind of speaking in very cautious terms about these phantasmagorias. Let me tell you about this friend of mine who was actually my mentor. Her name was Ludmila Alexeyeva. She and I wrote a book together about the Soviet human rights movement. She was one of the founders of the Moscow Helsinki group. Then she returned and was kind of pain in the neck to Putin in many ways. And she died of natural causes, thank God, at an advanced age. But she used to have a very nice way of describing things that are just not nice, such as, killing people in the streets is not nice.
Oh, my God.
And putting innocent people in prison, not nice.
That's not very nice. Yeah.
And the way she used to say it, she had the kind of an operatic voice. It was, "Ну, некрасиво," she used to say.
Wow. That has a different tone.
Beautiful. It's not pleasant. I mean, this is like, somebody who's my parents' generation, maybe a little tiny bit older, who was essentially speaking a very different kind of Russian, which is kind of full of these inflections and operatic. You listen to people my age, they still you can still understand them but they're a lot flatter. And then you listen to younger people, I can barely understand it because there's no emotion.
Wow.
So kind of like, I think actually all of this is having an impact on language too. It can't not. So here we are, starting this conversation. Well, we're trying to stay in our lane.
Yeah.
And there was, this is, as my friend Luda would say, некрасиво.
Yes.
Not pleasant.
Not beautiful.
Pretty.
Yeah.
And I think it's bipartisan, this concern about ICE. If it isn't, it soon will be.
Yeah.
This is not going to go away. So, but meanwhile, here's HHS that's hanging in the balance. The entire U.S. government funding is hanging in the balance. And here we are. Oh, and let's just not forget about the Michaela Nayland bill, which is a part of the HHS situation. And, is it going to go forward in the next version of the bill? I assume that if there's a next version, if anything moves forward, it will be there. Otherwise, we have a continuing resolution. Poor Nancy Goodman is at it again for the 6th time. And you were the one who wrote that headline, unless I did. 5th time.
I think I wrote it, but
Okay.
that was definitely from that was inspired by Nancy, because she said, we've been here 5 times before. So I was like, yeah.
And by the way, that is not a partisan issue entirely. It's getting the poor kids with cancer get beat up by both Democrats and Republicans who knock it back over and over, that bill. So I mean, my God.
I mean, I think that bill, to be fair, has really just been over and over collateral damage. But I do think that that's an interesting point, right? Like it's important to humanize what the impacts are of a spending bill getting pushed off, right? Like it's, these are like everything else the government does, like you said, is very important, and in some cases is life or death as well. So it is very, very tricky. It's just a terrible situation.
All I'm seeing one thing only, and don't cut that. is that there is no safe harbor that I thought we were kind of seeking so we could focus only on our stuff, because the New York Times does a very nice job of covering the rest of the administration. We cover our part of the administration. Yeah. Well, now we're seeing that our part of the administration is becoming, more like what, well, there's no safe harbor. There's a lot of, it's very hard to delineate.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure it's necessary to delineate. In this case, it isn't.
Yeah.
It's to do a good job. We have to just stay with the stories as they go. So that was a very interesting lesson in civics that we all got in your story that is just completely outdated.
Yeah. Should we maybe switch over to Claire's story just to kind of end on a little bit more of a less devastating story, a little less devastating of a topic?
Well, Premarin.
Yes. Premarin is, I want to say this part just in case, readers might not know. I didn't know. Premarin, just the name alone, is literally pregnant mare's urine. P-R-E, pre-mare, M-A, ma, urine, R-I-N, Premarin. When that almost is my favorite part of the story, to be honest.
Yeah. And I kind of knew that. It was kind of in the back of my head. But this is a drug that's, 83 years old. It's really hard to make because you're making it out of urine of pregnant horses during various periods of gestation. Mm-hmm. So you have to catch it, just at the right moments and mix it up just so. And therefore, this drug remained, every time anybody tried to challenge the patent. And by the way, it's not just, this is trade secrets that they were doing. So nobody could make it until now somebody has synthesized it. And the question is, of course, the HRT question, which is how Claire got into it. She started writing about the new decision to make HRT more used.
Well, removing the black box warning. Let's just say that.
The black box warning is right. Removing the black box warning. And, early in my career, there was the Women's Health Initiative, which actually showed that perhaps overuse of HRT is not a good thing. And so that question is now getting a new look.
Which is funny. I do want to say one thing about what you said, where maybe overuse of this drug is not a good thing. And please, listeners, refer back to Claire's original story on that, the black box warning, because it is way more complicated than we can get into now. However, the only thing I will say is that, let me try to find the actual... Basically, Paul, you're going to have to help me with the language here, but the part of Claire's story that was maybe giving a horse level estrogen to postmenopausal women is maybe a bit too much. Maybe we don't need to give them...
the Janet Woodcock entry. That was a get.
That was crazy.
She got Janet talking. That was great.
Fascinating. But the point of that is just that horses produce a lot more estrogen than pregnant women, which I think is very logical. They're much larger. I don't know if that's a real biological mechanism, but that seems reasonable to me. And it's just very funny to me to think about this whole debate between is it too much estrogen? Are we overprescribing? It's maybe you just don't give them horse estrogen. I don't know. For some reason that tickled me really hard.
Well, the worst part of it, you were spared. Poor Claire had to listen to me making horse sounds as I was editing the story. That wasn't good.
I was spared. I will admit.
You were spared.
I'm not surprised. I should have expected that to happen after.
I was just really having entirely too much fun with that story because, this is where history kind of starts meeting the present, and it's really a cool thing with how the science evolves, how it doesn't evolve. We're
still with horses, yes.
And then the horses. And then the ending took a bit of work. So we were both really having entirely too much fun with the story, and I hope the readers will too.
Yeah.
And, the coolest bit was the history of how they were really marketing the bejesus out of it in the 1950s. By putting out ads on, how, what was it, kind of outliving their ovaries and women.
Yes.
It was misogyny at its best, at its most spectacular. So my horse sounds got really loud at that one. It's just, please don't make me do it. But it was...
I'm trying to find the ads because they are really funny.
And then the collage on the cover. My God, that was so cool.
So cool.
So, the marriages end because women have outlived their ovaries, and therefore just pump them full of horse estrogen, and they'll be more whatever.
So the funniest one to me, I just want to say is he suffering? No, sorry. He is suffering from estrogen deficiency. She is the reason why. Talking about their husbands, it's so these are
Try
so
that
good.
now.
Yeah.
Try to put that kind of horse shit. See, so it got really bad, and I don't know. It got very interesting to edit. It's like was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. I can have some creativity, some silliness. Yeah.
It's a good candidate for an award next year.
Oh,
I think.
Absolutely.
The writing is just
beautiful.
Exquisite.
As always with Claire, love her writing. She's a genius. But okay, I think that is. I think we've chatted plenty. I think we're at a full episode here. But
I have a question now. I'm going to end with a question.
Okay.
What time is it?
It is what is it? Great or excellent? It's a wonderful. It's a wonderful time to be a journalist.
Indeed.
Bye, Paul.
Bye-bye.